A boy who dreamed of becoming Hokage turned into one of the greatest villains in the Naruto universe. Today, we uncover the truth behind the mask as we review the SH Figuarts Obito Uchiha figure, Hollow Dreams of Despair. Alright ninjas, let's start with the box, because you know, first impressions matter, even for a guy who spent most of his life behind a mask. Check this out. The box itself, it's looking pretty clean, a standard for the Naruto SH Figuarts line. But hey, simple doesn't mean boring. Right on the front, you've got all the goodies. Bandai, Tamashii Nations, Naruto, Studio Pierrot logos. It's like a shinobi scroll of authenticity. And of course, the official sticker that says, yes, this is legit, no genjutsu here. Now, the promo shots on the sides and back, they're giving Obito's greatest hits vibes. We've got the menacing villain pose, the I just walked out of Kamui stance. It's simple, it's sleek, and it's definitely cool enough to make Madara proud. Honestly, it's one of those boxes you might want to keep just to display next to the figure. I mean, look at it. It's practically begging you to say, believe it. But let's not get stuck here admiring cardboard when the real action is waiting inside. Time to break Obito out of this paper prison. Alright, shinobis, he's here. The man who went from believe it to grieve it. Fresh out of the box and ready to wreak havoc on your action figure shelf. This figure is absolutely packed, so let's get into his accessories. Because trust me, it's like opening a shinobi starter pack. First, we've got 3 extra faceplates to switch things up. A gritting face for those you let die moments. A grinning face that says, Madara's plan is flawless, and I'm totally not about to have an emotional breakdown. And finally, a blowing face for when he's about to let loose with a Katan Fireball Jutsu. Seriously, this one screams, clear the battlefield, or your eyebrows are toast. And then of course, we've got the masked head sculpt. The details on this are chef's kiss. The grooves on the mask, perfect. The flexible headband, a subtle but game-changing touch. And it's on a ball joint, so you can pose it like he's about to vanish into Kamui. That's some top-tier design right there. Oh, and let's not forget the bonus faceplate for Naruto in Sage Mode, because clearly, even Obito knows a rival's gotta look good while yelling about hope and friendship during battle. Nice touch, Bandai. Moving on to his hands. And wow, Obito's bringing a whole lot of ninjutsu versatility here. First up, we've got gripping hands for holding his iconic weapon. Pretty straightforward. Next up, let's talk about the Seal of Confrontation, or as I like to call it, the Let's Throw Hands sign. This iconic gesture, looking like a half tiger or half rim seal, isn't just a random pose. It's the ultimate shinobi handshake of doom. Think back to that heart-wrenching moment when Obito and Kakashi clashed, sealing their fate as frenemies for life. Yep, they pulled out this bad boy before they got down to business. It's the universal signal that says, I see you, I respect you, but also, I'm about to hit you with some serious ninja smoke. And it's not just for personal grudges. Remember the legendary statues of Madara and Hashirama at the Valley of the End? Yeah, they're doing the same thing. This seal has been the backdrop of epic shinobi throwdowns for generations. It's like the Naruto universe's way of saying, alright, no more talk, time to settle this. But here's the fun part. It's not just a battle cry. The Seal of Confrontation might also be the prelude to some epic ninjutsu. Whether you're busting out a Katan Fireball, Kamui, or even a little Summon the 10 Tails for dramatic effect. This hand sign is the ninja equivalent of hitting the ready button in a game lobby. So, whether you're posing your Obito figure for an intense duel or channeling your inner shinobi, this seal is a small but powerful reminder of the Naruto world's rich history and high-stakes drama. Then we've got clawing hands for, well, looking intimidating. Like, don't mess with me, I control reality now. And these pointing finger hands, they're perfect for the Your Next Kakashi pose. Here's where it gets a bit iffy. The hand with the chakra rod coming out of the palm. Cool idea. But it's looking more like a sword than an actual rod. Like, what's this? Did Obito switch to blade jutsu without telling us? It should have been sculpted more cylindrical to match the anime. A little disappointing. That said, yeah, I get it. In some fast-moving scenes, it does kind of resemble a sword, especially during the intense fight with Kakashi. It seems like they leaned into that interpretation for this accessory. While it's a bit disappointing for purists, I'll admit it does add a unique flair to the figure. But hey, at least it gives him some unique vibes. And finally, the pièce de résistance, the fireball jutsu hand sign. But let's be honest here, if you position this just right, it doubles as the ultimate 1,000 years of death prank hand. Obito's got jokes too, you know? Now let's talk about his weapon, Madara's iconic gunbai, or famously known as the Uchiha fan. The sculpting on this is next level. You've got the traditional Sharingan design, plus a chain that attaches to Obito's side for that extra touch of realism. To secure the chain, simply place it under his armpits. And that's all you need to do. It's easy. This thing isn't just a weapon, it's a statement. Like, I'm an Uchiha, and I've got the receipts. The chain detail is such a nice bonus. You can pose it flowing mid-battle, or let it rest on his side like he's casually strolling into another world-ending fight. But you know what's missing? Jutsu effects. A fireball or a Kamui swirl would have taken this figure from a 9 to a solid 10. Come on, Bandai, don't hold out on us. Alright, Ninja Squad, it's time to talk about the real jutsu behind this figure, its sculpt and paint. Does this Obito capture the look of the shinobi who went from idealistic hero to masked mastermind? Or is it again jutsu tricking us into thinking it's better than it is? Let's break it down. From the scars that scream, "I've been through it all," to the bluish-black anime perfect hair. And yes, even his oddly oversized ninja feet. We're about to dive into every detail, because Obito wouldn't have it any other way. Let's start with the mugshot. By default, Obito comes with a neutral face. And yes, I checked. No hidden Mangekyo behind this one. The paint job is solid, the eyes are sharp and clean, and his scars are sculpted to perfection. It's like Bandai took a screenshot straight out of the anime and said, "Yep, that'll do." Even his skin tone, while plain and lacking shading, still looks great under good lighting. His hair? Oh, that spiky mop is on point. It's clean, well sculpted, and has this bluish-black tone that screams, "I'm the shadowy anti-hero you've been waiting for." Kudos to the sculptors for nailing that iconic, messy but mystical vibe. Now, on to the outfit. Obito's muted purple mantle is like his personality, subtle but striking. Sure, there's no shading, but under the right lights, it pops beautifully. Plus, that glossy finish on his torso adds a bit of, "I just walked out of Kamui Dimension" shine. It's the little details, folks. Now, the Uchiha emblem on the back is sculpted nicely, clean, and sharp. There is no messy paint job here. Here's where things get gooey, gross. Let's call it interesting. His right arm, taken over by White Zetsu in the anime, is beautifully sculpted with all the gnarly details you'd expect. It's a lighter gray than his skin, giving it that extra parasite chic vibe. Moving down, his belt, or obi, for the cultured among us, is clean and well detailed. There's even a stick at the back that keeps things looking sharp. The lower part of his robe, made of flexible soft plastic, ensures you can strike those iconic poses without feeling restricted, because let's face it, Obito was never one to sit still for long. His pants are black with a slight shine, blending well with the muted tones of the figure. Let's just be real here, Bandai didn't exactly bless Obito in the glutes department. His behind is sculpted like it got Kamui'd to another dimension, uninspired, and basically non-existent. Now I will say, while his derriere might be flatter than Sakura's chest, there are some redeeming qualities here. The detailed seam lines running along the sides of his pants add a nice touch of realism. Like Bandai said, "Alright, we're not giving him curves, but let's at least make his pants look believable." The folds in the fabric are well sculpted, giving off the illusion of movement, especially when you pose him dynamically. So, while Obito's sculpt might leave him looking a little flat in the back, the detail around the seams and folds makes up for it. And hey, not everyone needs a power level over 9,000 in every department, right? Let me know in the comments. Should Bandai have given Obito more cake, or is this just part of his tragic arc? And those shin and ankle details? Loved it. The sculpting is immaculate, matching the obi's color for a cohesive look. Now onto his feet. Yeah, they're big. Like, is he auditioning for Bigfoot's clan? To be fair, the sculpting on the feet is solid. You've got nice, sharp details on the toes, and the paintwork is clean. The slight difference in tone from his arms and face is subtle, but adds a bit of depth, It's like Bandai said, if we're going big, we're going detailed. It's a small nitpick though, and doesn't take away from the overall aesthetic. Alright, it's time to talk about the articulation, because what good is a figure if you can't pose it to look like it's about to warp half your collection into Kamui? Let's break it down, joint by joint, and see how flexible this masked menace really is. Let's start at the top, literally. The head can turn side to side decently, but don't expect full freedom here. That tall collar on his robe, it's his biggest enemy, much like a Kakashi was for, well, most of his life. The up and down movement is pretty limited too, which means Obito might struggle to dramatically look up at the sky while pondering Ritten's fate. Side tilts though, not bad. Enough to give him that smug or brooding vibe depending on your pose. Moving on to the arms. We've got some solid range here. There's a butterfly joint that lets you pull the arms forward and backward nicely. Perfect for mimicking those dramatic moments when Obito reaches out, either to grab an enemy or to rescue his dwindling humanity. The ripped sleeves are soft plastic, so they won't block movement, which is a win. His arms can rotate a full 360 degrees, if you're so inclined, because let's face it, Obito might spin into battle, but not literally. They can also lift above 90 degrees, which is great for action-packed poses. He has a bicep swivel and double-jointed elbows, giving you plenty of options for dynamic, dramatic arm positioning. And here's a surprise, a forearm swivel. Even though the arm is partially hidden under that sculpted sleeve, Bandai still added this articulation point. It's a subtle addition, but it shows they were thinking about the posability. The wrists are on a ball hinge, so you've got excellent range for those iconic jutsu hand signs or throwing kunai in battle poses. The torso is where things start to feel a little restrained, kind of like Obito's internal struggle. The ab crunch is decent for leaning forward, so you can recreate that stalking menace vibe, but leaning backward, not so much. His waist joint adds a bit more range, but overall, this area feels stiff, much like his early ideologies before he went full Madara 2.0. Still, it's not a deal breaker, and you can manage some good twists and turns. Alright, moving downward, because Obito's path is nothing if not grounded, and then super not grounded when he phases through reality. His legs can move forward nicely, so he can kick with purpose. I'll admit, at first, I thought the backward leg movement would be very limited, especially with his sculpted butt and that soft plastic skirt piece. But surprisingly, it's actually good. You get decent range for dynamic stances or even those rare retreat poses. Though let's be real, Obito's not exactly known for running away. As for the side splits, he's got you covered there too, with impressive flexibility that makes wide stances and battle-ready poses look natural and effortless. Thigh swivel is solid, and the double-jointed knees, they're smooth as butter. Whether you're posing him mid-battle or just giving him a dramatic crouch, the knees are up to the task. Now let's talk about those ankles and feet, because Obito's steps are as deliberate as his plans for world domination. There's a shin swivel, which helps with subtle adjustments. The upper ankle has a ball peg, giving you great movement in multiple directions. the ankle rocker? Absolutely on point. You can set up some seriously balanced poses, even on uneven terrain like a diorama base. And lastly, the toe hinge is a nice touch. It's functional without being floppy, so you can get that extra bit of expression in his stances without sacrificing stability. In summary, while the articulation isn't perfect, especially with that collar restricting the head movement, this figure still holds its own. The butterfly joints, forearm swivel, and excellent lower body range make up for the minor limitations in the torso and neck. It's versatile enough to recreate most of Obito's iconic moments, from brooding anti-hero to full-on Akatsuki chaos. So, what do you think? Does the SH Figuarts Obito move well enough to phase through your wallet and into your collection? Let me know your thoughts. Alright, let's wrap this up with some final thoughts on the SH Figuarts Obito Uchiha figure. This one has definitely left a strong impression, from the crisp paint job to the well-executed sculpt, and the surprisingly good articulation in key areas. This figure really captures the essence of Obito. It's a solid representation of a character who's equal parts tragic, menacing, and downright cool. Now, for a quick size comparison. Standing next to the Mafex figures in my collection, Obito holds his own pretty well. He's slightly shorter, which makes sense given the scale differences between SH Figuarts and Mafex, but not so much that it feels off when you pose him alongside other characters. Whether he's facing off against Kakashi or teaming up with Madara, he fits into the lineup beautifully. So, would I recommend this figure? Absolutely! Whether you're a die-hard Naruto fan or just looking to add a versatile, dynamic figure to your collection, Obito doesn't disappoint. And hey, this is just the beginning. With this being my first SH Figuarts, you can bet there are more on the way. Stay tuned for more reviews, comparisons, and pose showcases, because we're only getting started. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more awesome figure content. Let me know in the comments what you think about Obito or which figure you'd like me to review next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.